Hello, hope you're extremely well. I'm Rob from HomeStudioCenter.com, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about EQ and compression and the relationship between the two. And I'm going to finally answer the age-old question of EQ before or after compression. And I actually suggest something completely different, neither of those, I say, and all will be revealed in a second. This is actually part of a much larger series about EQ called the 1 month EQ challenge. And my challenge to you is to take a mix and in 28 days drastically improve it using the 8 tutorials that you can get access to. It's all completely free. There's some cool bonuses as well. You can see the link to sign up in the video in the description, or you can go to 1montheqchallenge.com. But now let's talk about EQ and compression. Now, first of all, before I answer that question, I just want to point out that it's really not that important in the grand scheme of things. If you're worrying too much about where you place EQ in your plugin chain, then you're getting caught up on the wrong things, because it really doesn't matter. It makes a very, very small difference, and you're much better focusing your energy on other areas like the fundamentals of EQ, or those 4 key approaches that I covered in video 1. So don't worry about it too much. Having said that, I do have my own opinion of where it works best, and this is going to be very different to other engineers. So it's a purely subjective thing. Generally with mixing, people agree on the outcome, but they disagree on methods. So people can agree on what a good mix sounds like and what they want to achieve in their mix, but they go about achieving that in completely different ways. So I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you the way that I do it. You can decide whether you agree with my thought process or if you want to try a different way, and that's fine. I'm going to demonstrate the various ways at the end of this video so that you can actually hear how small of the difference there is between each way. There is a difference. You will be able to hear it, but it's very small. So first of all, what's my opinion? Well, I think that you should use EQ before and after compression. Not before, not after, both. And there's a reason for that. So in video 1, I spoke about the different approaches to EQ. And just to recap, they were approach number 1 was to remove unpleasant elements, remove nasty stuff. Approach number 2 was to exaggerate the good stuff. And then, of course, we had approach number 3, which was create space, and 4, which was make things sound different. But those first 2, remove the nasty elements and then enhance the pleasing elements. Now, that can be split into 2 different plugins, 2 different EQ plugins. So what I like to do is actually remove the nasty elements, then compress, and then enhance the pleasing elements. And I'll still do a bit more cutting as well. I like to call it surgical EQ and tonal EQ. So surgical EQ before compression, tonal EQ after compression. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on this vocal part here. Let's just have a quick listen.
Tell me, is this too much to handle? Conversation don't.
So let's have a look at what's going on here. The whole plugin chain, I've got an EQ here, VMR, which is a mixture of compression and EQ. It's a mix rack, so it just goes from left to right. And then I've got another compressor, it's incremental compression. It's better to compress in stages. I've got a limiter just to catch any peaks that slip through. And then I've got a multiband compressor because sometimes you can't treat problems with EQ. If they only appear on certain words or certain resonances within the vocalist, you need to treat them with multiband and just catch them when they appear. But that's beside the point. What we're going to look at now is these EQs. So first of all, in my first EQ, which I call surgical EQ, I'm removing those room resonances. Go back to video 1 if you want to see how I did that, which was called How to Use an Equalizer, because you'll see how I found these room resonances. But this is the first EQ, so it's narrow cut, surgically removing the nasty stuff. So once we've done that, we've removed the low end noise, we've tightened it up a bit on the low end, and we've removed those room resonances. The vocal sounds a lot cleaner. So now we've got what I would call a clean vocal that we can compress. So we can use some light compression, which you can see here.
Tell me, is this too much?
So only 2 dBs compression. And now what we've got is a cleaner vocal because we've removed the resonances and the really ugly stuff. And we've got a vocal that's a bit more dynamically consistent. So this is where I feel it's time to start working with the tone. So after this, I've got my tonal EQ, which is generally enhancing the pleasing elements. I'm doing that by boosting the high mids and the upper treble area. And I'm also doing that by removing some of the lows just to clear up the top end a bit. So that's my tonal EQ where I'm enhancing those pleasing elements. Now, if I put this before the compressor, my reasoning is that I'm boosting this frequency quite a lot. So the compressor is going to be enhancing that boost, really. Now I am using another compressor afterwards, so I'm kind of going EQ compressor, EQ compressor. And that's just the way that I like to work. I like to use a slower compressor, then tonal EQ, and then I use a slightly faster compressor. But the important distinction here is that my opinion is that you remove all the nasty stuff, then you use compression, and one compressor is fine, you don't have to use more than one, and then you do your tonal adjustment. Because you've got a nice clean vocal, you compress it, and then it's time to start adjusting it to taste. You're not fixing anything at this point. You've already fixed the ugly stuff. At this point, you're just kind of shaping it to perfection. So that's my opinion. Now let's have a listen to the different ways of doing it. So that was with EQ before and after compression. Let's have a listen again.
Tell me, is this too much?
Now let's bypass those, and these are the same plugins, just in a different order. This is EQ before compression.
Tell me, is this too much?
A slight difference. I'm going to play these again in a second. Now let's listen to EQ after compression. So we've just got gain, compression, compression, multiband compression, compression here, and then EQ after that in this mix rack and also here.
Tell me, is this too much?
So let's cycle through those a bit faster. So before and after.
Tell me, is this too much?
And then before.
Tell me, is this too much to handle?
After.
Tell me, is this too much to handle? Conversation, don't know where to go. Feeling like a slow burning candle. The end is inevitable. Tell me what you're thinking.
So there is a slight difference to my ears. Obviously I mixed this with EQ before and after, so that's the way it's going to sound best, because that's the way I mixed it. But having EQ before compression actually I think sounds maybe a bit warmer, so we're actually losing that boost a bit.
Tell me, is this too?
And then EQ at the very end actually sounds quite a bit more aggressive, and it's enhancing that boost right here at the end.
Tell me, is this too?
It's got a bit more bite to it. But hopefully you also notice that it's a very, very small difference. And remember that I mixed this with EQ before and after. So that's the way I adjusted the tone. If I'd done it with EQ before, I probably would have come to a very similar endpoint, because I would have just made slightly different adjustments. So there's no right answer. My opinion, before and after. Whether you agree with that or not, it's up to you. But that's how I like to work, and give that a try. I think it really helps you to stick to those 4 approaches, because you're splitting EQ into 2 different plugins. You're removing the nasty stuff, and then you're enhancing the good stuff. So in terms of workflow, I think it really helps you stick to those approaches. In terms of sound and tone, there's not much difference. So up to you what you make of that. I recommend doing it. Give it a try. In the next part, we're going to talk about backwards mixing. I've mentioned this in a couple of previous videos. This is my process of mixing from right to left, backwards in the mixer. So starting with mix bus, then group bus, and then individual channels. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about that in a lot more depth and give you the benefits of that and tell you how to do it effectively. So if you haven't signed up yet, click the link on the video. Go to the link in the description, or go to onemontheqchallenge.com. It's completely free. You get access to 8 tutorials in total and some pretty cool bonuses, such as an EQ ebook and a private video on EQ and vocals, my DAW templates, and even a chance to win a mix critique. So I recommend you go sign up. And of course, please subscribe on YouTube, like this video if you found it helpful, leave a comment if you have any questions or if you want to say anything else, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Can't wait to see you in part 7.